Thank you for joining us on our journey here to preserve the history of mixed martial arts. When I wanted to take on this project, I needed help. I brought in one of my favorite matchmakers, Miguel, and the MMA detective, Mike Davis. So to do this, we've been able to preserve history. Welcome and enjoy.
Lights Out Podcast fans, welcome back. I'm Miguel Dorati. That's Mike Davis. You know the routine by now. We're getting together here, getting ready for another one of our deep dives. Mike, we're getting somebody from one of my favorite countries, one of my favorite towns. Who we got?
Well, I have a bucket list of people that I want to get a picture with, and this gentleman is at the top of that list, Gilbert Yvel.
Well, definitely a guy that has fought some memorable fights, a 50 Fight Club member. Obviously, it's, even on documented fights, I'm sure he's got undocumented fights. And I'm looking forward to it because, anywhere you cut it, he's kind of got that bad boy reputation and stuff. But
the baddest.
We're not doing this interview. We're not doing this interview in Dutch. We're doing it in English. This guy is not, I think he's just a super interesting cat and smart, and definitely not somebody to be messed with ever.
All right, so in essence, the Dutch mixed martial arts scene from the 90s is like something out of like a Netflix special, like a multi-part series. And this is like our part to try to track it down and have somebody break down exactly what took place there. There's murder, there's mayhem, there's sabotage, there's, backstabbing. It's a scene like literally out of like a Martin Scorsese movie. And, we're going to try to kind of scratch away at it until we have somebody completely lay it out for us. So Gilbert Yvel, he's up. We're going to do an early deep dive all the way up through Pride. And ladies and gentlemen, you guys are sharing this. And the reason I know is it's like we're noticing like a 20% bump every single month. And if we continue down this road, we can actually pay for this, have this thing pay for itself. So just a simple like, share, subscribe, or comment allows us to be able to afford to pay for this, with the proceeds from the show rather than, coming out of pocket. So, ladies and gentlemen,
my kids doing. There's no Christmas this year. I told them maybe he gets 2 for $1 next year, but no Christmas, dude. So help us out, please.
I told my kid
share.
That's his kid. Santa had COVID. He doesn't want to be a super spreader. He's not going house to house this year. Sorry. So like, share, subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. BetDSI.eu. Up to $1,000, you can get a 50% deposit using the promo code Lights Out. BetDSI.eu. And without further ado, Gilbert Yvel, everybody.
Miguel Dorati for the Lights Out Podcast. The MMA detective is with me. Chris Lytle is about to join us, and we are live with Gilbert Yvel, all the way from Holland. An MMA legend for sure, Mike. Gilbert, how are you?
I'm pretty good, thank you. How are you guys?
We're in great shape now, man. Thank you. Mike, take it away.
All right, so Gilbert, I'm going to be very direct with you. Ever since I saw you fight, like pre-Pride, like your explosiveness and like how you approached fights was you never wanted to lose one exchange ever. So I've been a fan of yours for a very long time. So greatly appreciate you joining us. Why don't we start with how you got involved with mixed martial arts?
Yeah, actually, I was very young, like 14, 15, and I was doing a lot of soccer. I was good, I was fast. But at one point, I was tired of all the running, so I became a goalkeeper. But then in the winter, it was too cold to catch the balls, and then I was like, you know what, I gotta find something else. And some of my friends, they went to this small place with this trainer, the tough guy from the little city I was living in. I was living in a farm city in Holland. And we started doing a little bit kickboxing. It was actually like no rules. We just tried to hit each other really hard. We had like only 2 pairs of gloves, 1 pair of kicking bag, and that's it. And after that, I went to a lot of stuff. I left this little city where I was living in and went to Amsterdam, because my goal was always, when I'm in Amsterdam, I can find a really good kickboxing gym. And from there, I want to be a world champion. Would be awesome. And I met 2 days when I was in Amsterdam. I met my trainer Lucien Kareem, because he was living next to the, let's say, the flat where my father was living. And from there, he took me in.
So it starts with kickboxing.
Yes.
Yes, of course, it's always the Dutch way, right? Now,
Yes.
Now, this is in the 90s, the mid-90s. Now, the UFC already started in 93, but there was, and like, we talked to some of the guys that started UFC. They said in Europe, the British were not fighting, the Scandinavians were not fighting, the French were not fighting. You had to go to Holland where all the bad boys were. So, like, when you get to Amsterdam, you get, right away, you start getting to see some of the real serious guys. Give us an early story about meeting some of the legends from back then.
Oh, some of the legends. That
like
is
Ernesto Hoost, for example, or someone like this.
Oh, well, like I said, I came in Amsterdam, and I saw the K1, and I saw, of course, the first free fight, because back in the days it was not MMA, they was called the free fight. So the first free fight on a videotape, and I saw, of course, the first UFC on a videotape. And then when I arrived in Amsterdam, my knowledge about all this stuff was not that big. But then I got I had my first fight, and then I got invited to the big gyms. And of course, and Don Frye was over there, and Valentijn Overeem, the bigger brother of Alistair Overeem, was over there. And I remember meeting Peter Aerts. We were invited to do a demonstration of kickboxing at the student place, and Peter Aerts was also over there. And Peter Aerts, and everybody's like, Peter Aerts is here. So we started running to see this guy, and I felt, and I got a big ass hole still a big hole in my shin for nothing, because Peter Aerts is one of the best ever. But at one point I was in the same league. So yeah, that was actually pretty funny. I met Ernesto Hoost. I think. Wow. I don't know dates, but I met him at the gym. He's just one of the guys. Yeah. Peter Aerts, Ernesto Hoost, Ramon Dekker. Yeah, you just keep on going. At one point, it's like amazing to meet these guys, and at one point they're like looking up at you, or looking at you at one of them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
How long were you training for before you took your first fight, February 2nd, 1997, in rings against Rob Van Leeuwen?
Rob Van Leeuwen. All right, that was my second fight.
Oh, your second
fight? Yeah, I'm sorry. My first fight was in 96, in, I think, September. And I fought this guy, Bob van Straten. That's the name, Bob van Straten. I was training for 3 months. And there was some free fight, and somebody got injured, and they asked me, Gilbert, can you fight? They gave me like 500 gulden back in the days. It's like nothing. It's like now it's like $300, I think. Mm-hmm. I jumped in, beat this guy up, and gave him some knees to the head. I'm like, TKO'd him, and then I got disqualified because I wasn't allowed to knee him on the head without knee pads. So, well, the story of my life started in the first fight. Yeah, that was my first fight, yeah.
Was that in rings?
No, that was not rings yet. It was like a smaller organization and a smaller fight, and my second fight after was at rings.
So you were with rings, and What gym were you with at that time? Because I've got a couple. Was it Cops Carbon?
Yes, yeah. First, Carbon and Lucien Carbon. He went from one place to the other, to the other, to the other. At that point, we were training at Cops gym.
Okay, so you fought Rob Van Leeuwen.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, it's your second fight. You've got a disqualification already under your belt. I'm glad you got that out of the way. And you win by first round knockout. But
yes.
there's a lot of interesting things that took place with Rings Holland. You've got a heavy Japanese influence. I think they're the ones paying for it. And then on the center of the ring, you've got the Russian Red Devils advertising. How does that all work? How do all of those things come together?
Well, I think the Red Devil advertising was, I think, a little bit later, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Rings Holland is like a part of Rings, and Rings, I think the mothership is in Japan. Rings Japan is like the big place, and Rings Holland is a part of it. There was like a bunch of Japanese officials from Rings Japan watching that fight, watching the show. I'm not sure. I think Chris Dolman was fighting Rings Japan, and I think he asked Rings Japan, is it okay if I get the show to Holland and call it Rings Holland or whatever?
Okay.
And I think the Red Devils, like from Apy Echteld together with Vadim Finkelstein. Yes. I think there was like maybe a year, 2 years later. I'm not sure.
Okay, 97 to 99, you said.
Yeah. So there's like 3 years later, I think. 2 years later. Yeah. And yeah, we started doing the rings, of course, in Holland, and we got the Red Devil. Red Devil, does it call this? And I think they got a new name now. What's the new name? I don't know. It doesn't matter. No, there was a Red Devil. I think after 1 or 2 years, we went to Russia to fight over
Russia
there
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, when Russia was like, yeah.
So good. So you win against Rob Van Leeuwen.
Yes.
And you get a June 29th date in Rings Holland again against Bas Rutten's prodigy. His name's Leon Van Dijk.
Yes.
Now, you look at Leon's record, it's not very pretty. It's like 2-6. But if you look at the people he fought, they're all murderers. Like, he fought savages, and it was all in Japan in Pancrase. So you knew they weren't doing it. Like, he had 2 fights against a guy that maybe had 30. Like, he was, Bas really put him in with the wolves. Were you concerned going into this fight?
No, because I had nothing to lose. And that was like my first, whatever fights, I had nothing to lose. My first fight, of course, was like 1 week notice. It's my second fight against Rob Van Leeuwen. I trained for that fight, but I was ready for him. So there's no possible way for him to ever beat me. And then Leon van Dijk, of course, he was like a step up. But, well, if you want to be the best, you have to beat everybody. So, and sounds strange, but the feeling from me was, they say he's better than me. All right, I have nothing to lose. Yes, let's go in there and beat him up. And I think that's the best way to go into a fight, because the higher, the better you get, there's more expectation of you, more pressure. And I had no pressure. I just went in there and showed the world what's up.
So with him, see, this is where I think you really develop your style. The rule set for rings is like a Pancrase style, so you had to have an open palm standing. So instead of using open palm, which obviously you used, but you preferred your knees because you could knee to the head. And the majority of your the majority of your strikes are knees to the head, and it was probably because of that rule set. Would you agree?
Well, my coach is of course a Muay Thai trainer, and you know the knees and the elbows are the two like the four hardest weapons of your body. Well, that you can use. You know, probably your head's also hard, but yeah. I was not worried about the elbows with the knees. Well, what if you hit somebody on the head with the knee? You know, it will explode. If you hit somebody in the body with the knee, it also you know, you can drop them. So, and I was very flexible. It was easy for me to jump in and do a jumping knee. And, you know, if you hit somebody, they went down. And, well, I wasn't the one who was fighting for long. I didn't want to fight long. I just jump in and knock them out. So that's what we did. So that's why I used the knees a lot.
Now, how were you developing the ground game? Now you're messing with rings, which is ground heavy, like especially the Japanese guys. Are you kind of ignoring it?
In Holland, it wasn't. In Holland, I think it was like 20 seconds on the ground, and then they would stand you up. But if you were close to the ropes, it was immediate stand up.
No, I think the 20-second thing went later, if I'm not mistaken. But it was in Holland, they prefer the stand-up fight. So when you got on the ground and there was no action, they stood you up pretty quickly. And the Dutch fighters all preferred stand-up. So there was not a lot of ground fighting at the free fight fights. In Japan, yeah, and of course you had the rope escape. But in Japan, I was, I got Tamura and TK Kosaka. Kosaka?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kosaka, yeah. I fought him. We didn't do a lot of ground fight. And I'm older now, and I think it's too bad. My game was only jumping, knees, and kicking, and I was good at it. But my trainer didn't want to do a lot of ground fighting.
Okay. So with your next bout, it was at the Red Devil Fight Night in Holland. So the Russians are doing events in Holland and putting their name brand on.
Mm-hmm.
And you fought Vyacheslav, Kiselev. Miguel, please don't.
Oh,
so
this guy, do you know this guy? Did you see like the 3 UFCs back?
Yeah, sure.
3 UFCs ago, the referee who got kicked off of the show, it was him.
Yeah.
Vyacheslav, Kiselev or something like that.
Yeah.
It was him, right? Yeah.
It was. So in our pre-fight, I told Miguel that you instinctively knew he was going to eventually become a referee. So you knocked him out very fast in 51 seconds.
He was the first ref you KO'd.
Yeah, it was the first ref you knocked out.
Yeah. Actually, pretty funny is that Red Devil and Apy Echteld and all the fighters, we were actually pretty close. So those fights, it's what happened back in the days all the time. If some fighters came from another country, they came to our country, and they trained in our gym. You know, we train this moment, they train like an hour later, and after that we went all to go eat something. We actually were playing like volleyball together, him and me, for a couple of minutes, and just having fun, laughing, and then we had to fight. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so later on, as Gilbert had mentioned, he's refereeing UFC 267, does not stop the fight in a timely manner, so they remove him from the card.
Yes,
and
he did. Yeah.
Big announcement. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
So you got 3 wins in a row. It followed with another win with Pedro de Palm, where you get another win, and you decide to enter into a 4-man tournament November 1st, 1997.
Yes. I remember that, and I was thinking of a different kind of tournament. But yeah, I did this tournament in Russia. I fought this big Russian guy first, And I know I would beat him up really terrible. I really beat him up. Actually, I knocked him down, and he was like a face plant, like a la, what's his name?
Ugly.
This guy. Huh?
Ugly. It was an ugly face plant.
He went ugly. Like, what's his face? Who lost from the Jake Paul guy the other day?
Tyrone Woodley, yeah.
Tyrone Woodley, face went pop. He was like, and then they gave him like 500 counts to get up, and he got up, and he got some more, and then I knocked him out again. And then I got in the finals. And in the finals, I got this judo guy, or wrestling guy, and I hit him.
So you're referring to Oleg Tsygolnic.
The first one.
Well, that's Sergei Tunic. And then your next bout is Oleg Tsygolnic.
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember the names.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was him. And I beat him up too. He was only like holding on. I hit him and he told everybody I was eye poking. But I didn't. I proved because my finger was cut from punches. And then he claimed I need him in the balls, so there's also a lie. And at what point he was just done fight. Yeah, he was just scared. You know.
He refused to fight. That's what they said.
Yeah, he did. He was like holding on and got beaten up, and he stopped fighting at one point. Yeah.
What was do you remember the purse for that? Like, what did you win for that tournament?
I have no idea.
Did any of that money make it home to Holland, or did you spend it all in Russia?
No. It went home to Holland, but I'm like $1,500 or maybe $2,000. Maybe $5,000. I have no idea. Really, that's too long ago.
Okay. Now let me ask you: was that your first like trip fighting, going to Russia? Before that, you were fighting in Holland.
Oh, I'm not sure. I think it was my first fight in Russia. I think, yeah. Okay. I think, yeah, and it was a tournament, and I think, yeah. Yes.
And you already knew the Russian. You already knew the Russian guys because they came to fight in Holland, so there were already connections there.
No. Yeah, I knew the some of the Russian fights. The guys who were fighting in the UFC after this albino kid. What's his name? Slim.
Yeah, Andrei Semenov.
Andrei Semenov. Yeah, him.
And Suloev was the other one.
Andrei Suloev and another one, the blonde kid.
Amar Sulev? No.
I think so. I'm not sure,
okay.
But yeah, those are the guys. They were like fighters. They were not from the Red Devil team, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
So from there, you go December. Yeah, that's December 7th, 1997. Boss, is it Yusen? You win by knockout again. So you're on a roll. Like,
yes,
you're on a roll.
Yeah.
And then you run into my favorite fighter of all time, Dirty Bob Schrijber.
Yes.
In February 1998.
I can't. When I saw that fight took place, I couldn't believe somebody put that fight together. I'm like, you better have like the military, never mind the police. We need to have the military present just to make sure everything is okay.
Yeah,
what do you recall about fighting Bob Schrijber?
Bob Schrijber, first fight was like any other fight, you know, just go in there and give him your best knees and beat him up. And actually, that is what I did. I gave Bob my best knees ever. I don't even remember. I see it from, because I see the tapes, I have a tape print in my head. I gave Bob my best knee ever, and it bounced off him like, "Wah!" And you see him like eyes popping out and making strange noises. And he just, and he comes straight forward at me again. I give him the best knees then. And I had to finish it on the ground. Like my first submission.
Heel hook.
Heel hook. Yeah, was it heel hook? I'm not sure. I think it was
Achilles lock.
Yeah, there you go. And I think I just learned that submission like 2 weeks before that, training at Chris Dolman's camp. And yeah, that was my hardest fight from at that point. Yeah, because I was tired and I was. Yeah, it was a hard fight. I gave him all. One of my best fights, I think. Yeah, it's a good fight. Yeah.
It's your first time going to round 2.
Yes. Yeah. I remember that. Yes.
Now the great. Talk a little bit about, because you're a young man still. You know,
Yeah.
you're obviously about 20 years old here. Bob already has a big reputation in Holland and stuff. That didn't affect you. What had you heard about Bob Schrijber before the fight?
No, I always live in a bubble, in my bubble. I was living in the bubble of the gym. You know, right now you got internet and you can find a see whatever. At that time we had internet, but not the mobile phones and to see, and you know, there was no there was the internet already. I'm not even sure.
Yeah, but yeah, it was tough. You had to dial by phone to get on the internet. Yeah.
There were no movies. There were no things. You know, everything you hear was from like what people were saying. Of course, yeah, we know Bob was dirty, but you know, like it was at that point a little bit the culture of the Dutch free fighting. It's like, well, it happened, you know, and I can blame it that I did the things I did a little bit because I learned from the best. But yeah, that's a little bit how they fought back in the days. And no, yeah, I know Bob was supposed to be a dirty fighter, but I was just busy training and trying to beat somebody up. So, and in my fights, he was always cool, nice, clean, and we had 3 fights and 3 wars, and yeah, no problem. Yeah.
So prior to this interview, I explained to Gilbert, like, sometimes when you have 2 wrestlers fighting each other, it becomes a boxing match. Sometimes you have 2 boxers fighting each other, it becomes a grappling match. You've got 2 of the world's probably most dangerous fighters that rules, you know, really don't matter. I mean, it matters, but not really.
You can say it. You say it.
2 very dirty fighters, and it was very clean. It was a very clean fight.
Yeah. Yeah, because we can break the myth like I'm a dirty fighter. That's not true. I did 2 times something stupid. The Don Frye fight, you know, my finger slipped, you know, and he put his, you know, stupid. And that's it. I cannot remember I did something else dirty in another fight. So
I think your want to win was very high. You hated losing.
Yeah, I went just the little step too far sometimes. You know, yeah, I think it's not right, but I think if you want to be a champion, you have to go the extra extra mile. And of course, it is not right to bend the rules. But at that time of fighting, it was in Holland not normal, but also not like surprising that people would do it sometimes.
Yeah, it was a rough game.
You fight in another 4-man tournament. You win your first fight, yes. And your second fight is Bob Schrijber, Dirty Bob Schrijber, again in the finals.
Yeah,
where you have your first loss.
Yeah, all right, that's the story I remember, and I lost that fight. But I can say, I lost contact with my mother when I was like 2-3 years old.
Wow.
I might have met her when I was 5-6 years old for the last time, and then I saw her. Was it like after 21 years? So yeah, the last time I saw her, I was 3 or 4. So after like 20 or 23 years later, 21 years later, I saw her again. It was like a day before the fight, before I was fighting Bob. And I drove to the airport to pick her up, and she was not there. All right. And then I went back back in the house, was chilling, and I think in that evening she came in Holland. I think I met her with my little brother and sister, and the next day I had a fight. And I can try to be the cool guy and tough guy, but that affected me during the fight. So if you can see me, if you see the first fight I did with this Russian or whatever guy, you can clearly see I was not there. I beat him up. He get 8 counts, and the referee's like, "Yo, 8 counts, you can fight." And I was just standing there in the corner, like I wasn't there. And then I fought Bob, and of course Bob beat me. And not to say, yeah, because if my mother was not there, I would have won the fight. No, that's not true. But if you fight Bob, you have to be there mentally and physically, like 100%. And I was clearly not mentally there for 100%, and I lost the fight.
Let me ask you, it sounds like you went through a personal thing there, but
yeah,
you hadn't seen your mother for 2 decades. The first day you see her, did you take her to the fight? Did she go with you?
No, she did. No. With actually, a funny story. They had problems for immigration to come into the country. That's why I didn't see her at the airport. And they asked her, "What are you doing here?" And she told everybody, "Yes, she's here to see me." Back to Holland to see my son. And when she say my name, it was like 5 minutes later they let her in. So it was actually pretty funny that my name could bring her in. Into the country. I think that evening I saw her, and I brought her to the place she was like supposed to go to. In Holland, there's this place for people without a home and coming from a poor country, and they help them.
Where was she coming from?
Haiti.
Okay.
Really?
I'm Haitian.
Oh, okay, that's an interesting. Okay.
So who raised you then?
Oh, I have. You don't want to go there. I've been living at foster parents till I was like, say, 15, 16. Then I walked away from that place to one of those places, and I started living with myself.
Wow.
So are you 100% Haitian?
Well, pretty much 50 because my father is from Suriname.
Okay.
How do you end up in Holland?
My mom so my that's a long story. Let's say my aunt met somebody in Haiti. This guy took her to Holland for a while. Then she was helping him in the house, doing whatever stuff, cleaning and do whatever. And then my aunt asked him to pay for my mom to come over to Holland. So my mom came over to Holland when she was like 12, 13 years old. And met my father over here. Got me. Went to Haiti for the vacation, for the holiday. And then the civilian war, how say it? Burgeroorlog. Hoe zeg je burgeroorlog?
Civil war?
Yes, civil war started in Haiti. So the borders got closed and she was not able to leave. So she stayed there for like at least 16, 17 years.
Oh my God.
Wow. Life-changing stuff, huh?
Holy shit.
So now, let's get back to the fighting. Thank you for sharing all that stuff with us. But so Bob Schrijber, he had a reputation. This is your first loss. Obviously, you had some baggage, but how did you think? Did you think, okay, next time I'll be okay, or did it affect you? The first loss is big for some people. How did you overcome it?
It was terrible, man. Because I'm still not sure if I lost. Actually, if I'm thinking about it, I lost because I lost mentally. I didn't lose because he was the better fighter. You know, 9 out of 10 fights lose because the fighter breaks and he gives up. And I think I had that too. And it was from today, just the most terrible and most disappointing and most shaming moment of my life. Like I gave up. Just how I felt like I gave up. Oh my God, terrible. Walking out of the ring and I didn't win the fight. Oh my God, like 1,000 people or more people were watching that fight and I lost. Oh, terrible, really, really. I'm still, yes.
Gilbert, Miguel, let me set this table a little bit for Gilbert. It was a war. These two, Gilbert lands a knee, and in the middle of finishing Dirty Bob Schrijber, Dirty Bob throws like a Hail Mary right hand that connects to Gilbert and drops him.
Yeah.
I think it was a good stoppage, but Gilbert was also fighting his cornermen. like that caveman instinct of just fight until you die. You saw that in Gilbert. Like he's a savage warrior. There's no doubt. And at that moment, you saw that even though he maybe not have been, maybe 50% up here because of the punch, he was still fighting.
No, I remember I got down and I want to get up and they keep me on the ground. There's my cornerman said, stay down. And I wanted to get up. I remember that. I really remember that. I remember that. I wanted to get up and they had to hold me down.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I wanted to get up. Yeah. It is, maybe it was a war, but still, it was not, my feeling was not, I didn't give it my all. Well, I lost. Yeah. Losing happens, but still, from then, something breaks in your heart when you lose. My first loss after 14 fights, terrible. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Bob had to be carried from the ring. That's how intense the exchange was between these two. Like Bob, nobody won that fight. Somebody's hand may have gotten raised, but man, it was savage. You guys also fought in 2002, a few years later, where Bob almost had you knocked out in the first round, and then in the second round,
no, it was only one round.
Was it one round? The third time?
Yeah, it was a 10-minute round, and then if there was no winner, there was supposed to be one more of one round of 5 minutes extra. And yeah, that was the. I think still that's the biggest war like two Dutch fighters had. It was like in 10 minutes long. I don't know if it was 10 minutes or 8 or whatever, but it was like stand up Muay Thai with bare hand boxing fight. We were just beating each other up. I remember Bob hitting me like after like 1 minute with his fist in my eye. So I had a bruised eyeball, and I just saw it. I was cross-eyed in one eye, and I saw 2 bumps. And I remember hitting Bob, and I still have the knuckle. This knuckle, you see this knuckle is still big. I hit him in the front of his head, and he did like, buff. Like he headbutted it, and I was like, oh. And he said, it hurts. I'm like, yeah. And then everybody started to laugh, and then we kept on fighting, and he hit me down. And from then point on, I got back up, and it was like a war. And it's like I was tired, he was tired, and he was doing good. I think he was actually winning. And at one point, I got a jumping knee in, and that broke his face, I think. Not his spirit.
Both his eyes were closed. But he couldn't see.
Both his eyes was closed. His nose was
and he didn't want to stop.
His ears. No, and the thing is, he was fresh, and I was tired. And then at one point, his wife or his girl, Irma, told him, "Bob, you better stop now." And he told me later, of us later, like when well, if Irma say I have to stop, then I better stop. And that's why he stopped. And then he got on the mic and he started talking to me, to everybody. And I was like, oh, I was tired. So again, this fight, one hand was raised, but there were no winners. It was this total war. It was an awesome fight, though. I was done. I was tired, though.
So just the other really fast. The other thing that must have felt good because we're talking about the third fight. Now this Too Hot to Handle show. This is a little bit bigger show. It's a nice show. This was Apy also, right?
Yeah.
Talk about who do you think was the guy? Was Bob the favorite of the show, or were you the favorite? Who owned that?
Side?
Who was the guy?
That is a good one to say. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. If I say it was me, it's difficult for me to say.
Okay.
But I remember giving Bob a combination, and the crowd, I still remember that, got up and everybody was clapping and stamping their feet and got crazy. The Ahoy in Rotterdam was sold out. There were no seating places more. People were standing. It was crazy. Everybody, like all Holland was watching this fight because Bob and me we gave it all, always. And it was the third fight of us. Yeah. That's crazy.
So let me put this into context for people at home so they can understand. Dirty Bob Schrijber, he has no-showed fights that he was supposed to be in because he got in fights on the way to the venue and got arrested. He is just an old school throwback fighter. The Bulldog Smokehouse, which is like the original marijuana hash house in Holland, he was their security. So when the government said, you guys can't keep this open, it's kind of not legal, Bob was the person that they had to deal with. He's a legend.
He's got a little streak.
Let's say Bob in his prime, not saying technique-wise, but I don't think any fighters in the UFC nowadays would have be able to knock him out in his prime, because you could not. You could. That was the third fight. I was fighting Bob. I was like, well, what I do, I just fight for 10 minutes, and then in the extra rounds, I gave it my all, and I'm going to win that round on points because I knew I could not knock this guy out. It's not possible. It's not possible to knock this guy out. I did my best these bad points. So I knew it was my game plan. I remember just fight for 10 minutes, just fight, and then the rest of the extra rounds, I just go in there and fight extra hard so I can just win that round. Yeah, because Bob was tough. He couldn't knock him out. Yeah, he just took it. Yeah.
So before we get on to the next fight, we've mentioned the name twice so far. Apy Echteld.
Apy Echteld, yeah.
So he was like a famous Dutch manager. Would you mind telling us a little about him?
Apy was I think I'm not sure. I think Dutch coach from the karate team, and he also he got friends with the Red Devil people. He got some contacts, and he promoted also a couple shows together with whoever. I don't even remember. Well, he was just another promoter.
Okay, so you say he's another promoter, but in my research of him, was it Simon Rutz said that Apy hired a hitman to kill him at one point. So Apy had a very big reputation as well.
I have no idea. You told me before the story, but I had no idea. It's the first time I hear that, like the second time today, though. But no, I have no idea that if that's true. I don't know. Yeah.
Now he also, I remember Apy also. This might be off the time, so I'm going to give it back to Mike. But he also at one point managed Gegard Mousasi, no?
Yeah. I think Gegard started. With in the city with a champion of Apy, and I think Gegard came to train with Apy a couple times. Yeah.
Okay.
So, in essence, from there, you lose to Dirty Bob Schrijber. You know, this is because we're going back a little bit right now. And then May 23rd, 1998, at the International Absolute Fighting Council in Moscow, Russia, they feed you a savage in Kareem Barkalaev, ADCC veteran, Kareem Barkalaev.
Yeah, man, you know. Actually, this is the second time I fought him. Before,
Okay.
yeah, before
Tell
that,
us all about
I fought him in Japan.
Okay, I don't have
Before
that.
that.
I think you fought him after that.
In rings, Japan? I thought it was before that. I'm not sure. My first fight in rings, Japan, I think it was before that. Yeah,
No.
I think so.
No, you got Rings Japan, April 23rd, 1999 against TK Kosaka. Prior to that, you fought in Aruba.
No. My first fight in Japan was against Kareem Barkalaev.
No, it is. It is. You're correct. Yeah, but that's after. This is the first time you fought him. Okay.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah,
so
it was like
Russia first.
Ordhal Bekov in Rings Japan and Lee Hasdell in Rings Japan. And those are right after Valentijn Overeem.
Lee Hasdell was in Holland.
Man, it's Rings Holland, man. Okay.
Yeah.
Here, let's talk about this.
But I know I fought him before in Russia. I fought him first in Japan. The first fight in Japan was against him, and Chris Dolman was with me. But it doesn't matter. Then I fought him in Russia again, and yeah.
What happened? Wait, hold up. What happened in that fight?
All right, so we were fighting, and I was set up to winning that belt, that trophy. I was just about to win a trophy. I was gonna win it, easy peasy. And then I ran into the ground problems. He just took me down, held me on the ground, and tried to get up. He helped me on the ground, tried to get up. And at one point, he gave me a headbutt. And I told the ref, you headbutt. And the ref didn't say nothing. And wait a minute, I'm sorry, my girl is backing. What? Yeah, I'm busy.
We got pause. We can pause. We can pause.
Give me 1 second, guys. I'm so sorry.
Go ahead. Do you think?
No. Yourself. I'm so sorry. I'm so embarrassed. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm so embarrassed. Schat, kom hier. Je stuurt zelf. Here.
Kareem Barkalaev. He gives you a headbutt.
All right. So he gave me a headbutt, and I asked the ref, what's up? And the ref said, don't cry, keep on fighting. And then I bit him.
He bit him in the ear.
I bit him in the stomach, like
in the stomach?
In the stomach, maybe 2 or 3 times. I laugh now, but I'm still embarrassed, like being stupid.
But let me ask you, you when you're fighting, it's obviously serious, but you have a sense of humor. You laugh. Kareem Barkalaev was not like that at all. Like this guy never smiles, man. So what did you think? Like, was it like a scene? Like, tell me about him.
Him, I don't even know. I fought so many guys. I guess he didn't laugh, no. And he was like, he was actually a good, strong fighter, strong wrestler. And I think I remember the first time.
He was ahead of his time.
Yeah, and the first time I was fighting him too was also a little bit dirty. Because he was holding me against the cage, against the ring in Rings Holland, Japan. He was holding me all the time, and I was holding the ropes and doing little things that were not allowed. And at one point, I broke him. Then I beat him up, and he got knocked out. But now he was in his own country, and this referee was helping him a little bit, and he was like, holding me down on the ground, and give me a headbutt. I bit him. It was not good. It was wrong. But at one point, we just keep on fighting. I got up out of the from the ground, gave him a knee, a couple foot stamps, and it was over. And then I got disqualified again because I beat him. And I tried to play it off. I didn't do nothing, but it was like you can see the biting marks on his body.
It happens, man. It happens.
It was. Yeah, I did.
Barkalaev, Miguel, you were at the ADCC where he got deported from the country.
Yeah, I saw him fight in Abu Dhabi twice, like live. And that's why I knew that he was a scary individual. Like a lot of the Russian guys that you hang out with, like Amar Suluev, Ansar Chalangov, like those guys were like rough guys, man. You know,
Sentsov,
yeah. And this guy too, Sentsov was like a doctor, but not really. I think he was a dentist or a doctor, and then didn't practice. So for sure, but Barkalaev was maybe the meanest of all, man, in my opinion.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. He was scary. If I think back, he was a scary guy. When I was that young and I was not afraid of him. I would beat him up. I couldn't do it again if I see him. I can't do it again if I see him. I'm still in shape. But yeah, he was good. But I ran into problems because he took me down and held me down the whole time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So after that, you fight Valentijn Overeem, June 7th, 1998 in Rings, Holland. That was also a very hard fight.
No, it was a really quick fight because Valentijn fell and wrapped his shoulder. It's like the first, I fought him twice. The first time he fell and ripped his shoulder, his arm, everything messed up in the shoulder.
Yeah, 38 seconds, it says.
Yeah. It was like...
So the second time you fought him, you beat him by armbar.
Yeah, but it was later in It's Showtime from Simo Rutz. Okay. Then I got him in the arm clap.
Yeah, your jiu-jitsu game really stepped up. You know, I watched the second fight, not the first fight. You were at Voss Gym for the second fight. You switched. Am I correct?
I think, yeah.
Where are you learning in some ground at this point? Like I know, for example, in Holland, Martin de Jong was there. Did you did you have access to him? Tell me your ground story.
The ground story is pretty easy, simple. I was supposed to fight in the show in Las Vegas, and the show got postponed. But all the rooms, the tickets, everything was bought. So the promoter, John Lewis, famous John Lewis, said, "You know what? Let's get those fighters out here and let's have some fun." You know, John Lewis is actually the reason why the Vegeta brothers and Dana White bought the UFC. He was the first Brazilian jiu-jitsu teacher in Las Vegas, and I was like a week before I was leaving for Vegas, I was watching some DVD and John Lewis was on there, and didn't know this is the guy from the show. I just noticed this guy, and then the moment we step out of the plane, who's picking us up? This guy. I'm like, hey, you're the guy from the video, and we connected like this. Martijn de Jong was also there, and we stayed, I think, for a week in Las Vegas, and trained like 3-4 times over there. And maybe we went back to Holland, and I think a month later, I went over there to Vegas, and I stayed there for another month to train with John. And I have been doing that for the last, 20 years. Yeah.
Wow.
I went back and forward always, and he was teaching me, my ground.
Okay. Wow, that's great.
Hey,
I didn't know that either.
Sorry, the dog. Yeah.
So you have 2 fights. You get 2 more wins against Bekov and Hasdell, and then they put you up against Big Moe T.
Yeah. Yes.
And Rings Holland again. And, you know, Rings Holland is amazing as the fights that happened there. It really wasn't allowing you guys to develop a good ground set at this time. Like, as much as it helped, it also hurt, I think, to a certain degree.
You mean the ground skills?
Well, the ground skills, like in your country, were limited because of the time that they only allowed you to be on the ground.
Yeah, definitely. At that point, we don't care because we were stand-up fighters and we were ahead standing, but we're lacking in the ground game. And what I knew now, I wish I knew then. And because because we got a lot of wrestlers here in Holland, good wrestlers also. And if I was able to pick it up on a younger age, I was definitely be unstoppable. But yeah, at that point, the ground limited times was favoring me because I was a stand-up fighter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you beat Big Moe T with a flying knee,
mm-hmm.
and you made a statement. He was from Dolman Gym, and at the time, you're still with Carbon. There was a bit of a rivalry between the two gyms. Am I correct?
No, but Big Moe used to train with us.
Okay, and, I knew there was something there. Okay.
Yeah, and he was a kickboxer. He used to train with us, and at one point, he wanted to fight me. I don't know, whatever. But I was never impressed because I knew I beat him up. I used to beat him up in the training already. So, and I remember after I knocked him out, Lucian ran to him and he told him, how dare you fight Gilbert? Who you think you are? Yeah, but it's back in the days, you know. Now, when you're a good fighter, you fight or at this gym, you fight another opponent. You're gonna fight a trainer at this gym. You fight this guy and this trainer is better. But back in the days, it was still like our gym against other gyms. And if you ever trained with us, you cannot really train. If you used to train together, it was like I said, front upon.
Yeah.
I always wanted to say it. To fight somebody you used to train with. So it didn't went well for him. Yeah.
So Miguel, from there, he hooks up with Frederico Lapenda, and you end up flying to Aruba for the World Valley Judo Championships.
Yes.
What was your experience like dealing with Frederico Lapenda, who was the promoter?
Let me think. Yeah. So the first fight, I fought Todd Medina, and you know we didn't know nothing about Frederick. Frederick didn't know nothing about us. And it was a quick fight, I think like 21 seconds. It was only one contact. It was my knee against Todd's face. And then he went to the hospital where he had to stay a night. Too bad for him. The second time I fought supposed to be the first Wanderlei Silva. What's his
Fabio
name?
Piamonte.
Yeah, Fabio Piamonte. Oh my God, Piamonte. And Federico told us, yeah, he's just another fighter. You know, he's not that Gilbert's gonna beat him easy. But it didn't. But the story was different. He was already like some kind of champion. He supposed to be like, going to be like the big star. And in his country, he was also a big star. So Federico played us, and like 2 days before the fight, he told Plass Reputation, no, you was never gonna win. So, but I got a little bit famous there in Aruba. I got a lot of fans over there, and Federico was staying Fabio was staying in our hotel, and he was also confused because he's supposed to be this big star, and everybody was treating me like the big star. So it got a little bit heated, yeah.
Well, you guys had an incident at the pool where you almost got into a fist fight.
Yeah.
You and Federico. Or you and Fabio.
Fabio, yeah. Well, let's say it's like, how was the day of the fight? and we were staying at the same hotel. He was in the pool. I was walking around the pool, being my awesome self. I was young, okay? And at one point, we started looking at each other. He's looking at me, I look at him. And, and at one point, he's like, I've got to get out of here, man. If I don't do that, I'm going to kick some ass before the fight. You're an asshole. And then we got like, let's say it was hot. We got like mad and stuff. Yeah.
Did your manager have to help calm you down?
My trainer, that was Lucian. Yeah. I was a little bit, the like, you know, the heat and the stupidness got the better of me. So, yeah.
Yeah. So in that here, I mean, we're fast forwarding a little bit, but with that Fabio Piamonte fight, it was a lot of buildup in regards to it.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us how it ended?
Well, that was awesome. So it was a fight in Aruba. It was outside. And I remember there was a bunch of people from Holland came, bunch of nice girls too, and they were all drooling over him. I was so mad, man. They came special to Holland, to Aruba with me, and they were all drooling over Fabio Piamonte because he was so pretty. So the fight started, and the ref said fight, and then he's like, so now we're gonna see who's the real champion. And he throws a low kicks and he misses. And then we were in there. There were no tactic. There were no smarting. No, we went at each other like two honey bears. Stupid fighting. And I think after 2 minutes, I got my head together, and then I finished him with a couple knees and some, I think a soccer kick to the head and some elbows on his head, and then it was over.
He was probably not as pretty after that.
No. I actually destroyed him, yeah. I heard really bad, yeah.
I mean, I can only tell you what the rumors were, that your trainer had to stop you with a knife from killing him at the poolside.
Yeah, let's see.
Maybe.
Something
Maybe.
like that. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's awesome. That's good. Hey, it is what it is. So after Todd Medina, we're going to rewind a little bit. You fight Japanese legend TK Kosaka.
Yes.
Who pretty much the inventor of the butterfly guard.
Yeah, he did.
He called it the TK guard. Yes.
Yeah. I remember they told me you can go to Japan, fight TK, probably gonna lose, but you're gonna learn something about that. You're gonna learn from that fight. That's what people said. We knew, of course, we're gonna beat this guy up, but we tried. And the awesome thing is that I actually made him do a rope escape. And I almost stabbed him with a guillotine choke. He could just reach the rope for a rope escape. Yeah, I beat him up. I literally beat him up for like, I don't know, 2 rounds. I'm not sure. Or maybe, yeah. But I beat him up. I knocked him out. Yeah.
It didn't sit well with him though.
No, I know.
Yeah. Let me ask. He fought Boss Rutan already. Did you talk to Boss? Did he help you or any of that?
Did he fight Boss Rutan?
I'm looking at it. He fought Boss Rutan in January of '99, and then your fight was in August of '99.
Oh, no, I didn't talk about it. No.
Okay, no problem. No. You didn't need it.
No.
It didn't sit well with him, and he continued to request rematches with you. You guys fought 3 times.
Yeah. So the second time we fought, it
was August 19th, 1999, Miguel, is what you're talking about. The first fight was actually April 23rd, 1999. So go ahead. The second time where you pick a decision.
Yeah. We fought. I think I was beating him up. Then he fell out of the ring. He hurt himself. He was not able to continue, and they let him win. Crazy. They let him win, but he was not able to continue. He fell out of the ring. He was not able to continue. And the crazy thing is, he faked it because he was hurting on one hand, and then after the fight, he was hurting on the other hand. So it's just a big fake. Actually, just the stupidest decision ever. You know, he fought out of the ring. He hurt himself, and you know, if you can continue, you lose the fight, or it's a no contest or whatever. But they let him win. Great.
Now,
So
you've been fighting for rings a lot here. Where Kosaka also had a controversial fight with Fedor. What did you think of that? Didn't he like beat Fedor with a cut also the same way?
I'm not sure. I think Fedor was after I left Rings Holland and I went to Pride.
Oh, okay.
I was lucky. I left because Fedor killed everybody in there. Yeah, and
so with TK Kosaka, did you backstage? A lot of the Japanese, obviously with Pride, there's no secret that there was a lot of shenanigans in regards to some of the matches. Did you ever get approached to do a fake fight in Japan?
No. Too bad. Now I'm thinking about bring on the fake fights. I do it right now. But no, never. And I knew who did. Of course, it was amazing. That's crazy to see. But yeah, I think people knew which one was fake and who were not fake. But yeah, I never did. No, we're not for the fake fights. But I was always hoping for it's like, Gilbert, you know what? You're going to win this fight, No. That's really that. I have always had to fight for it. Yeah. And the third time I fought TK, the first fight I remember, TK had my feet, and I jumped in the air and I gave him a knee on his face. I really beat him up the time. Now, the third time I fought TK, I was training a lot with this Dutch guy, Ben Stelt. He was a wrestler, and we
it was a tournament.
No. It was a tournament.
It was a tournament.
This is King of Kings.
Okay, and I was training especially for TK for his shoot, and I was doing the sprawl really good. And at one point he shoot, I give him an uppercut, and that is this knuckle, and I cut him open. That was the end of TK.
Yeah, he was like a legendary figure behind the scenes as well. Like if you really wanted to get a push in Japan and get the right fights, TK also is one of the guys that you'd have to talk to. But let's rewind just a little bit. I don't like to skip too far ahead. You fought Semmy Schilt in one of the most bizarre fights that I have ever seen. Okay, why don't you set it up and then I'll tell you what I saw.
I was rings champion, Japan champion. I fought I beat Tamura in the tournament to become the champion. Semmy was the Pancration champion. So they wanted to know which organization was better. So they put Semmy and me fighting in Holland. At that point, rings you were allowed to use gloves. They started to use gloves in the fights, and I decided to use the gloves. Semmy decided to fight without gloves because he was pancreation or he didn't know how to use the gloves. It was also one of a big show in Holland. It was in Utrecht, I remember. And Semmy is like 2'13". I don't know how much that is in inches.
He's like 7 feet tall. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, the feet, yes, 7 feet. So.
And Inoue was in attendance. Let's not forget that.
Yeah. So the people from Orange Japan were there, and the people from Pancration were there. Like 2 delegation of Japanese people were there. And yeah, I remember telling people, you know what I'm gonna do? When the bell rings, I'm gonna do this. I didn't know it was a Superman call. It calls now the Superman punch, but I didn't know about it. I just gonna jump up and punch him in the face. And the bell rings, and this is what I did. I jump up, hit him, paf, give him 1 more punch, and he went down, and he got like the slowest 8 count ever because everybody was in panic. Like in the first 3 seconds, one of them is down. What do we do? Like,
it was like a 15 count.
Yeah.
It was, I think he started over. Yeah, it was.
And then we had like
wait. So let me kind of set the table a little bit. So Semmy does not have gloves on.
Yes.
Gilbert does. So Semmy has to punch with open hands, where Gilbert can punch with a clenched fist. It's so unfair. Like, and then the ground, they stand you guys up so quick because it's in Holland. Like it's
I was
very little ground.
Actually, well, fighting Sam isn't fair. He's like, he got feet, like legs from like, he just standing in his corner, I was standing in my corner, he just giving me a front kick all the way over there.
It's true.
And he will hit me from my belly button to under my chin like this, because he has feet like this big. No, it was a crazy fight though, because Sam was very strong. Stand up was not so good. His ground was not good, but what he did, he was good in what he did. So it was a war.
So he was with Yonkers Gym, right?
Yeah.
At that time. Yonkers. And you're with Carbon. And the thing is, it's like, here, you knock him down. You're not allowed to finish. He gets a standing 8 count. He submits you with a key lock, but not allowed to finish. And the guys get a restart. So
it was not key. I think we were trapped in a rope, so he was not allowed to something like that. I was
so it was not a submission.
It was not a submission, no.
Okay.
It's just, I remember it was a war, and he was lucky because we hit Sam. It was so tall before he hit the floor. He's like 4 or 5 seconds, and so he came back. It was hard to knock him out. And then I think in the last 20 seconds, maybe half minutes, my trainer told me, Gilbert, show me who you are. And I gave him a flurry of like 8 punches, 2 knees, and he got an 8 count, and he was like almost falling over, and the fight was over.
Yeah, and Aki was there. Like it was the elites of Japan were there watching that fight. It was very impressive. And I think at that time you were sponsored by the Tattoo Palace.
Yeah, Tattoo Palace. Yes. Oh, that's awesome that you know that. Yeah, I remember wearing the shirts. Yeah, Freddy, the owner of Tattoo Palace, is like a dear friend of mine. And the moment I started to live in Amsterdam, I came by there, got my first tattoo there. And at one point I was there. If I was not at the gym, I was at the Tattoo Palace, sitting there, talking, doing tattoos, having fun, and So they were sponsoring me.
Yeah, that's nice, man. We always try to pay attention to the sponsors that help the people get where they came from. All right, so you're on a roll. Then you go to Japan. You just had mentioned TK Kosaka falls out of the ring. They give him the decision because he got hurt. Fabio Piamonte, we had already discussed. There was a fight at the pool where your trainer had to stop you from murdering him. And you get an easier guy in Amsterdam, Miguel, an Iowa All-Star, a guy that's on Travis Fulton's record at least 15 times, Dennis Reed.
Right. Dennis Reed?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Dennis Reed again.
You didn't really know him because it was like 10 seconds and you hit him with a flying knee.
The smaller guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I met him in Alabama. No, I was fighting there against Houston Alexander in the RFA, and where was it? Somewhere in I forgot the name, but I saw him again. He was a referee over there. Dennis Reed, I remember. I gave him 1 knee and a little ground and pound, and it was over.
He died.
It was a show in Holland. It was too hard to handle, and I think it was the last.
It was
fight?
IMA. It was IMA in Amsterdam. International.
Oh yeah, IMA, yeah. It was too hard to handle, basically. I remember there was like a really nice. He fought in the red corner. He was blue corner, so they introduced us, and then he got out of the whatever, and I got out, and the whole crowd was like, "Whoa, Gilbert!" And he looked at his hearing was standing behind him. He's like, "Oh man, I'm gonna get murdered, right?" And he did. He's like, "Yeah." I remember that. Yes, Dennis Reed. Too bad. A very nice guy, but yeah.
You were a pretty big ticket seller.
Yes, I was at one point. I was the face of MMA in Holland. People came to see me. Yeah, I was the man. It's stupid to say for myself, but Holland MMA was me. Yeah,
true.
Yeah.
All right, so we've covered a couple of these fights. You go to Rings Japan 4-man tournament. You beat Terio Bitsades by armbar. You wind up with TK Kosaka in the finals, where you had mentioned you hit him with the knee, cut him open, and it stopped. And now you're back in the main event in Holland, February 6, 2000. Joop van Kasteel, who is
Joop van Kasteel, yeah.
He's very popular in your country as well.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, Joop is Joop is an awesome guy, but actually Joop is not a real fighter. It's just a sweet, strong guy. They turned him into a fighter, but he's not a fighter from heart. Maybe like fighter in what he does, but not like a real fighter like I am. So we went together. We were fighting there. We trained together. And Joop is a guy you have to tell everything like 5 times and slower, because otherwise he don't understand. And he's the sweetest guy ever. But they put on the heavyweight belt, and he was fighting for it. And they asked if I want to fight him. Like, yeah, fuck yeah, I wanted to. I want to be the world champion, right? Did I fight him before that? For Japan or after? I'm not sure.
This is in Holland. This is your first time fighting.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if I won the open tournament in Japan already, but doesn't matter. I want the belt, and I was fighting Joop. Joop is Joop. I was better than Joop.
The body shots, I think, were the difference in that fight.
Yeah, the thing is, if Joop and I will fight 20 times, I will beat him 20 times. And I got a lot of respect for Joop, but I'm just a better fighter. And it was a crazy fight. First of all, the official rules, you were able to use elbow pads. And I hit him one time with the elbow, and they said, "Oh, no. No elbows anymore," because Joop was from Chris Dolman, and Chris Dolman is, of course...
I think you threw your elbow pads off, too.
I threw them off. Like, okay, fuck it. I beat him without this. And then, I actually had a bruised fist. So it was difficult for me to punch his body. But it's what we did, beat him up, and we targeted his body. And at one point, the combination worked too much from him. He could not follow it, So I throw 6-7 punches, and he just could react on 2 or 3, and like the 4 after that, he could not see him coming. And then he broke. He started to complain. I hit him in his balls, and he just broke. And then I hit him down on his body 2 times, and then I finished him with to his face. Yeah.
Was this the fight where you took your shorts off before you got announced and then put them back on?
No. I think it was against after Valentijn in
It was against him. You're right, the second one. Yeah, it was.
because I had a Superman shirt on. I'm like, yeah.
He had to show off his underwear. Spent a little extra money on it.
And actually, I was losing that fight because Valentijn gave him the first 8 counts. That fight. It was also, I think, it was the first time I fought. Valentijn and me didn't like each other, of course. And then Lucien was in his corner. And I think it was the first time I fought my old fighter, my old trainer. So it was also a little bit emotional, yeah. So actually I was losing that fight until I got in a position to put an armbar. And if you almost get an armbar on Valentijn, you know he's going to tap because, yeah. He's a pussy.
Now, let me ask you this. Did you do the Abu Dhabi trials around this time? Did you go to Sweden for an Abu Dhabi trial, or am I crazy?
No, I went to Sweden a couple times. I think, no, you know what? Martijn de Jong did the trials, and I went with him. Yes.
Okay, that
was awesome, though. Sweden was awesome. He asked me, hey, Gilbert, I have to go to Sweden for this, can you come with me? I'm like, okay, I will come with you. And then the day before we left, is it cold over there? Yeah, it's minus 20 degrees. I'm like, that's really cold. But yeah, I went to Sweden with Martin. Was it Sweden or was it Finland? Sweden. That was Sweden. Yeah, Sweden. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so when we talk about historic runs in mixed martial arts, it always coincides with the tournament. February 26, 2000, you fought in Rings Japan in an 8-man tournament. Your first draw is Dan Henderson.
Oh yeah, I remember. I was Henzo Crazy was also in the tournament.
Enzo was in there too.
Yeah, I was supposed to beat him, win the fight. Dan Henderson, the fight starts, and Dan Henderson hit me with the, at that time not famous H-bomb. He hit me with the right straight on my face, and it dropped me on the floor. And after that, he got me once in the armbar. I got out of that. He got me once in a triangle choke. I got out of that by spinning in the air. Then
hit him with an elbow. Yeah.
No. Wait. Then I was beating him up. And then we had this 3-point rules. If somebody touch the floor with 3 points, you cannot hit him with the elbow. I was allowed to hit an elbow, but when you're like 2 feet and a knee on the floor, you're not allowed to hit him with the elbow because then it's the grounded person. All right. I hope you can see the footage of the fight.
Yeah, I did.
Watch the footage, and if you see correctly, his knee is like hovering above the floor, and I hit him with the elbow, and then they say, yeah, he was grounded, but this knee was not on the floor, and they give me a yellow card, and that's why I lost on decision. Lost some points from him.
So Henderson, he gets a win over Gilbert, then he beats Rodrigo Nogueira, and then he finishes his evening with a win over Babalu. That's incredible. And Renzo Gracie was in the tournament too. Think about that.
Yeah, but
Renzo was on your side of the tournament.
Yeah, but they wanted the Henderson to win because all the fights were like my fight. I beat him up, but they gave me a yellow card. And then he fought somebody else, and also he lost that fight, but they let him win. And the final, they let him win again. He did not win one fight. Actually, everybody was in the bus mad at him because he won the tournament. Like everybody was talking shit. Yeah, they favored him very much, and he didn't.
But I think it was Randy Couture was in his corner.
Yep.
And sometimes that helps.
Yeah, and you know what? After my fight, I beat him up so badly that he didn't want to fight for the next fight. They had to talk to him for like 40 minutes to
encourage him.
Yeah, let's go, man. You can do it. But he didn't want to continue. Yeah, but eventually he did, and then he won the tournament.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, I mean, it's on paper, that's a hell of a run. March 5th, 2002, hot to handle. You fight another Portland native in Brian Dunn. Tough as nails.
Dennis Reed, Brian Dunn.
Yeah.
You knocked him out with 21 seconds.
The Brian Dunn is the one I beat up real quick.
You beat both of them up very quick.
Yeah, but Dennis Reed, I fought we had to fight these long karate shorts. Yeah, Brian Dunn was a really quick ground and pound action. Yeah, I remember him, and I met him later. Yeah, I beat Brian Dunn. Easy fight.
Very tough fighter.
Tough, yeah. No.
You were trying to remember. You met him in Nebraska.
There you go, Nebraska. There you go. Yes. Thank you so much.
No problem, sir.
Yeah, Brian Dunn. Yeah, nice guy, but it was a really quick fight. Yeah.
We're gonna skip a fight. We're gonna skip the Kyoshi Tamura, and then in Pride 9, June 4th, 2000, they have you against Vitor Belfort.
Mm-hmm.
On paper, that should have been a stand-up war.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
What happened was the big league. We came in the big league and we were not prepared. After the fight, I heard Vitor was traveling, let Babalu travel like 3 hours or 4 hours every day or every week to train with him to prepare for me, for my fights. And we had even we had no idea how you pronounce or wrote Vitor Belfort. We're like just
you're another Brazilian.
Middle league fighters fighting in the big league, and we had no idea. We just thought we go in there and beat everybody up. That's the first time we were fighting, and I had to look at my trainer like, "The fuck do I do?" And he was like, "I don't know." Before he said something, and I did it already because we were like really in tune with each other. But now, Vitor took me to the ground and kept me there, and I had no idea what I was doing. And actually, I lost like my majority Pride fight. I lost some points. They could not submit or knock me out. That happened twice, but all the other fights, I lost that fight because Vitor was 5 kilos lighter than me. Otherwise, it was a draw.
On paper, it should have been. 1 second, Miguel. I apologize. I'll get to you. On paper, this fight should have been stand-up. There was not one instance where Vitor wasn't trying to wrestle you to take you to the ground. You guys had no stand-up at all the entire fight.
No, he took me down.
Very disappointing.
Yeah, very smart of him because he took me down.
Now, let me ask
MMA.
You say this was the big leagues. Was it because Vitor had a strategy, or was it because the Pride was such a big show? Which one, or both?
No, because the big league and we were not prepared. We were not ready. Okay. My ground game was not good enough. My wrestle game was not good enough. All the fighters over there was like light years ahead of us. I was a good stand-up fighter. I could beat everybody standing over there, but they didn't want to fight me standing. That's what Vitor did. He took me down. It's like what everybody did.
I'm not trying to say that there was like a conspiracy here or a controversy, but there is a reoccurring theme that happens in Japan with yourself. So Vitor is on top wrestling. I can't believe that they allowed him to stay on top of you like that without standing you up. And your defense was, I'm just going to hold on to him, create no action, so the referee is forced to stand us up, giving him very little offense. Not only did they not stand you guys up and allow just the time to click through, but they give you like a warning to be more active on the bottom when it's him that's doing the stalling.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was shocking to me.
I don't remember they gave me the warning, but yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
So Gary Goodrich, that's your next opponent, Pride 10, August 22nd, 2000. This is one of those highlight reel knockouts that is forever going to be played when it comes to mixed martial arts KOs. Walk us through it.
Gary Goodrich, we fought in this baseball stadium, so it was big. And actually, the upper layer was not open for public because it was so high up you could not see the ring. I remember we had to walk down the stair. It was very long. I remember Ron Nyquist, my manager, was a little nervous, and I told him, "Don't worry, man. I'm just gonna kick him. I throw a left high kick, and I just knock out. That's over." We saw footage of Gary Goodrich fighting Iko Vovchansky and some other guy, and everything you throw from your left and it connected to his right, he reacted like a split second too late. So we were practicing from everything we do, we're gonna attack him with our left. So we were standing, we were standing there in the ring, and we were so close to each other. I'm like, well, okay, we're so close. I can punch you, hit you, alles, everything. So you know what? I'm just gonna kick him in the head, and I did, and the fight was over.
Yeah, 28-second KO, and you dedicated the fight to K1 legend Andy Hoog. What did Andy mean to you?
Yeah, Andy was like, especially with his kick, he was like phenomenal with his X kicks, his front kicks, his spinning kicks. He was like a team warrior. Yeah, he's this big name, and not long before that, he died of leukemia, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So yeah, we decided to dedicate this fight to him.
So the Miguel, the Gary Goodrich knockout was so devastating. Eddie Bravo is doing commentary, and we've got a couple mutual friends. And Eddie was told one of our mutual friends that about an hour later, that Gary, with all the lights and stuff, thought he was at a disco in Toronto.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
He wasn't aware he was in a different country.
Yeah. Yeah, I told me that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, Eddie was the commentator.
Yeah. So after that,
give me some of the differences that you feel between rings and Pride, because when you were in rings was the biggest show, but then Pride came along and made it bigger. How did you feel it? What did you remember?
Oh well, better fighters. First of all, rings. If you went to fight in rings, there was like public, like 1,000 people. In rings, it was like 1,000 people sitting there, and it would be quiet, like there's nobody in the room. Mm-hmm. And the only thing you heard sometimes, you're like, but then it was quiet. Nobody was talking. Scary. And then we went to rings, and everybody got loud. And we over there, the strongest fighter were over there. Of course, the rules were different. Harder. Yeah, the big league. Like the UFC, the voorloper of UFC, the front loper of UFC. Yeah.
So Pride 11, Wanderlei Silva. This legitimately should have been just an all-star matchup for you.
Yeah. Good fight. Supposed to be a good fight. I knew I could knock him out. I was about to knock him out. And I think I gave him the fight start. I gave him one of my best low kicks. And he looked at his corner and looked at me, and he kicked me right between the legs. And that was it.
Did your testicle get ruptured with that?
No, but I swear sometimes I still feel it. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. I would like 6 months later I would bust a nut and I was still hurt. So yeah, it was terrible. Yeah.
Wow.
And you know what the most terrible thing ever is? They asked me, do you want to continue? What you want? You want to continue? Do you want disqualification or do you want no contest? And me with my stupid honest face, I say, well, oh yeah, doing no contest. I don't want to win like this. And it costed me, yeah. If I had said to them, yeah, no disqualification, I could like 30% more money and a point on my on my record. But no, I don't want to lose. I don't want to win like that. Yeah.
In a guaranteed rematch too. It would have been a guaranteed rematch.
Yeah, but yeah, terrible. And actually, you know what? I've been, Van Leeuwen has his own gym in Vegas. And I've been training with him a couple of times over there, and we had a good time. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How did you do in practice against him?
Oh, good. The first a couple of times my trainers were with me, and then it was all nice and cozy. And then one day I went there by myself, and then I had to fight. He went for me, but I dropped him. I didn't knock him out, but I give him like standing 8 counts. You know, he was like, yeah, I gave him a couple good ones. Yeah, I remember I really had to fight. But he's an awesome and really nice guy. Yeah. But he's like us, you know, he don't take no shit. he goes 100% all the time.
I think he's based out of Vegas right now.
Yeah, I was over there in Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
At the gym, Vandalizing gym, yeah.
That's good. So in Japan, they start kind of giving you the same thing, wrestler after wrestler. They put you in with Vegeta.
Yeah, the thing is, this also me. I got like, now, I was a warrior. You know, if I take it back, they let Heath Herring fight. They let Alistair Overeem fight, and they gave them the easy opponents, and they gave me like the hardcore fighters.
It's true.
Yeah, and yeah. Well, yeah. You know what? It's the way it is.
Well, Don Frye was in his corner.
With Vegeta.
He was in Fujita's corner. Did you think that they were trying to set up a match between the two of you as well at that point?
No, the thing is, I lived in a bubble. You know, now I see all the politics and people this and people that, but then no, not. I was just, but it was possible, but I had no idea. No.
Sorry, you mentioned politics and bubbles and sparring and stuff like that. Did you ever spar with Alistair Overeem?
Yeah, we used to train together.
How did you do? How were those sparring sessions?
That day he was just a young kid. It was good, but I was much better than him. But he was also at that point. He was like 80 kilos or something. So he was way lighter than me, like 10 kilos, 15 kilos lighter. I remember Alistair was not able to do 10 push-ups. Yeah, so it was not really competition around that time.
He got much bigger than you physically with time.
Yeah.
Horse meat, they say, horse meat.
Yeah. No, the funny thing is, horse meat. In Holland, they say it's like somebody walks around like this. They ask him like sarcastic, like, "Oh, did you eat horse meat?" And that's what Alistair tell everybody. "Oh, I eat horse meat," but that is a sarcastic thing to say in Holland. If somebody walks around like real big, and that's what people. So if a bodybuilder walks by, it's like, "Oh, did you eat horse meat?" Just for like being sarcastic, but that's what he told everybody. But he didn't use horse. He didn't horse meat. You know, we all know what he did.
Right. Well,
now the other guy you mentioned a couple of times. Did you train with Heath Herring? Because Heath is from Texas, but he was a guy who kind of famously went to Holland. He was under Coors Hammers, I think.
Yeah.
And talk about Coors too, because Coors is pretty much a legend, right?
Yeah. Heath and me, we didn't click. We were together nice. Well, outside of training, but in training now, I gave him a black eye a couple times, and we went a couple times in war. So they separate us. They put him in Breda with Cor, and I stayed in Amsterdam. Yeah, and Cor Hemmers, the stepdad and trainer of Ramon Dekker. Yeah, Cor is a legend. I always used to call him Drunken Cor because he got drunk always after the shows. And we had to wake him up or let somebody open the hotel room because he was just being knocked out over there. Yeah, now of course it's amazing trainer and person to hang around. Yeah.
And Phil Baroni, when he fought Amar Suluev, who you were training with, what took place pre-fight that almost had you guys fight?
I have no idea. He was talking shit to Amar Suluev. We were standing around. No, I'm not sure. It
was in the elevator.
It was before in the elevator. I think he was already talking shit, and it was just talking. He didn't know who I was. I didn't know who he was. He was talking shit to us, and then in the cage, he was talking shit to Amar Suluev, and then I stepped up because it was my team, and I talking shit to him. I'm like, you know what? Why don't you go over here? Let's go. I fight you. And he was talking shit. I'm like, why did you go out of the cage? Come over here and I'll beat you up. And he was talking shit, but he didn't came out of the cage. And then at one point, people took him away from the cage and put him, and then they told him, you know who this guy is? He was about to beat you up. Yeah, he was talking shit. And then after he beat Amar Suluev, he was talking shit to me again. And I tried to run into the cage, and Lorenzo Fujita, he stopped me. I remember. It's like, Gilbert, please. Yeah, the good old days.
Yeah, that's smart. You can't put like a tough guy to stop Gilbert because a tough guy probably won't stop Gilbert. Put the richest guy there,
the business guy,
so that we pay attention.
No, but when we were in Vegas, we used to hang out with Lorenzo, and he was always very nice, and he got it. You know, he's classy. He got style. He's like he got authority, and he was always really nice and cool to me. And he said, "Gilbert, please, can you?" Okay. Yeah.
And that's it. No, that's it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
So at Too Hot to Handle on March 18, 2001, you fought a Brazilian stud in Carlos Barreto.
Yes. Yeah.
Savage.
Yeah. And you were saying they were favoring the Dutch for the ground, and I think they helped me a little. I was lucky, but they put a net, something under the ropes, so we could not fall out of the ring. But we got tangled in there, and we were supposed to fight. I throw a low kick, he shoot, he got a mount, almost got me in the Americano, and then they stood us up. It was lucky for me, not for him, and maybe not all that fair to him, but forget. And then I dropped him with the left hook. It was a real soft hook, and he just buckled and he went down.
Hold it.
Yeah, and the referee said, "Stop the fight." I'm like, okay. I was happy. But then they got all mad, and he was like, they say, "Restart the fight." Okay. And then I jumped in with a jumping knee, and that was it. Yeah.
Miguel, everybody at home, you need to watch this fight. Gilbert for sure concusses Barreto with the left hook. If the fight is over. So then the Brazilians start yelling, and the referee has a conference with people on the outside of the ring. And in theory, this is in Holland, everything is supposed to favor the hometown guy. Instead, they go, all right, just start the fight again. No big deal. Where Gilbert lands this devastating knee. It was ugly. It was ugly twice.
The right punch after, yeah. He's getting a right punch after that for good behave.
And Bas Rutten was the ring announcer.
Yeah.
Are you friends with Bas?
Yeah. Of course, Bas is a legend. Bas, yeah. It's like, yeah. I think Bas, he showed me a couple moves right before I fought Carlos Barreto. He said he's going to do this, he's going to do that, and that's why he could not finish me on the ground. Yeah. It was I think that show was the last show of Ramon Dekkers, the last fight of Ramon Dekkers, I think. Yeah, good times. Yeah, Carlos Barreto. Oh, he went so hard knockout. Oh my God.
He must have been upset afterward.
I think so.
Yeah, and he lost twice. Bad.
Knockout twice. Yeah, but second time he
got
was
him knocked out
out.
twice.
I was out. He was sleeping. Oh my God. I cannot laugh about that,
So then Igor Vovchanchyn, who at Pride 14, May 27, 2001, Vovchanchyn at this point might be the pound for pound toughest fighter in the Japanese organization. And he's also a stand-up guy. What happens in that fight?
All right. Also, the story before that. Now, we were talking about Ron Nyquist, my manager.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I think 1 or 2 weeks before that fight, he got arrested because he shot and killed the twin Rob and Erik Driesen that we all were friends with. So that also again, I cannot say if that didn't happen, I would beat Victor, but I had a good chance. But I also not my full 100%. And I got on the ground and I got in a choke real quick, real easy. Yeah.
So Ron Nyquist, who Gilbert just mentioned,
in
essence, he's the founder of Golden Glory, a legendary guy in the kickboxing scene. Somebody puts a car bomb on his vehicle and it doesn't kill him. It is believed, I don't know, I was not there, Rob and Erik Driesen, who Gilbert just mentioned, were the culprits in regards to this. And both of them turn up dead, and Ron went to prison for that. Yeah. It's sad. Did you know the twins?
Yeah, I know. The thing is, we got invited with Fabio, Fabrice Lapena, the Brazilian promoter.
Frederico Lapenda.
Yeah, that was in Aruba, and Ron invited us to Aruba to fight over there. There was a show, Aruba Boxing, and it was very bad promoted. Ron told us people, because he was living over there, you know what, I can get some fighters from Holland. So he got us, and that is how everything started from there. Ron, we went there together with Ron and with Rob and Erik Driesen with the twin. They were twins with their families and Ron's family and everybody's family. We did everything together. Yeah, and at one point the sad thing happened. And that happened like a week or 2 weeks before I had to fly to Japan. Like 2 friends of me got shot and killed, and another good friend of mine is the one who did it. So yeah, it's not like the best preparation for a fight. I'm not saying that's the reason I lost, but I think
it was in your head.
It was the baggage.
Yeah.
Why was there so much chaos in the Dutch scene? Was it for power?
Dutch scene, I think back in the days, Dutch, there was a lot of people around the fighters who were doing also a different kind of business. Let's keep it back there on that. Yeah.
Okay. What about Jan Plass? Did you have a good relationship with him?
No, he was from Voss, right? I know the name, but that's it.
He was the guy that got caught like stealing a whole bunch of eels. like it was like a eel heist, a fish heist.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know. Maybe I think it's from before I was in Amsterdam. I think.
Okay. Let
me ask. Can I ask you about one other Dutch fighter? We had Merlos Conan on.
Yes, Merlos. I know Merlos very good. Yeah.
She's a legend. Why don't you talk a little bit about how you know her and how you see her? Because, like I said, she's a legend in MMA and women's MMA, obviously.
Oh yeah, Merlos. I got friends with Martijn, and Martijn was teaching, Martijn de Jong. Martijn de Jong was teaching ground fighting, and Merlos was one of his students. So what I used to do, I drove from Amsterdam to Deventer, like 45 hour to 45 minutes drive. I went there, picked up Merlos, who was living there in Deventer, and we drove like 5 minutes to the gym for Martijn de Jong, and we trained. And so I met Merlos, like training and hanging out together. And yeah, she did really good. She started beating all the girls up, breaking arms. We were like this group. She was also doing, I think she was also with Golden Glory for a while.
Yeah.
I remember her and her, I don't know if she's married, but her husband or her longtime boyfriend, Roemer, before they even were a couple. And now Merlos is, she got a child, and with Roemer, of course, and they own a gym, I think, and she's she also does a podcast. It's called
Commentary. Yeah. Commentary for Invicta. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She also does that. Yes. She got a podcast, and through her and her co-host from the podcast, this guy also did another podcast called The Golden Cage. He's talking about the UFC, and Merlos told him, you know what, his partner left for another deal, and she's like, what? Why don't you ask Gilbert? And so now I'm doing this podcast with this guy, Dennis Kornham, and Kornman, yeah. And yeah, Merlos, from Merlos, she told him I was a good guy for that, and turns out I'm doing pretty good. So yeah, Merlos, always nice, always respectful, and always a good time when I see her. Yeah.
Cool.
So, and we're going to close with this. Pride 16, Don Frye. September 24th, 2001, a few days after 9/11. Don Frye comes in with the American flag.
Yeah, I was, even if I fought my cleanest fight ever, I was not allowed to win. It was like, he came on with the American flag and American flag shirt and terrorist socks, and I was like, oh yeah, here we go. And I was just being my awesome self. I was behaving badly, terrible. I was just being an asshole, straight up asshole in the ring. Didn't want to do complying with the ref. Just being stupid. I wanted to fight stand up. Don Frye was another guy who wanted to take me to the ground, and I was just mad. I was mad at everybody and everything. So why don't you just stand up? I actually almost got him in the armbar though, because he had this signature move when he was sitting in a guard, and he was like do this neck crank, and I was training for it. And when he did that, I tried to put him in the armbar, but I got so happy, enthusiastic, that I didn't finish the move right, and he slipped out. Yeah, I was terrible at this fight. we had to lay on the ground. We had to stop, don't move, same position, and I just got up. Let's go. Fight up standing. I was holding the ropes, and they say I poked him in his eye, and there was a lot of terrible stuff on that day. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know the referee was kind of trying to put you into a different position, or the position where he broke you, and you didn't want to do it.
So,
No, we're gonna stand up. I go,
yeah, okay, let's get up. Let's but the
Now,
thing
were you just being difficult, or
yeah,
was he trying to put you in a different position?
No, I was just being an asshole. I just being difficult. I didn't want to go down on the floor again. And
That's cool.
but it is also, the thing is, I was lacking the ground skills, and I got taken down again and again and again and again. I was just frustrated and stupid and doing stupid stuff. And but
Don Frye. Go ahead.
Don Frye was a sport about it after the show. Also, he's like, you know what? I'm not even mad at you, Gilbert. He was hurt on his knees very, very badly. You know what? And another fighter would have just stayed away and give me a couple low kicks and won the fight. You just came and wanted to fight me, and he was happy about it. And he's like, he was not even mad. He's like, you know what, Gilbert? I want to help you, and I think you're a good kid. Unbelievable. You know, I was just being a straight up asshole to this guy, and he was nice to me. So yeah,
He even grabbed the mic. When he grabbed the mic at the end, and he just said, "Whoa, Gilbert, we'll do it again, brother. Not a problem." I was just like,
yeah,
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
Now, how much of that is that how he is, or do you think he's also understands the shoulders?
No, he's a really, really, really nice guy. He just is. He's a really relaxed, nice guy. Yeah. So yeah, awesome guy. You know what? I think I saw him in the States when I was living there. He's like, Gilbert, what's up, buddy? Yeah, he was awesome. Yeah.
Huh. Well, Gilbert, it's almost 2 hours. Thank you for your time, brother.
No worries.
Good time. Man, good walking down memory lane. One of my bucket list for mixed martial arts, I got to get a picture. Someday I'm going to meet you. I'm going to get a picture with you. You are on my bucket list, sir.
No problem. Anytime.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Yeah, sir. We'll catch up. Yeah, it is. We'll catch up for maybe the second half of your career in the new year, and we'll get it taken care of, because this was a lot of fun for us.
Yeah, we got to finish your career.
Yeah, we didn't talk my greatest knockouts.
Yeah.
They're right around the corner. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got too many knockouts. We talked about half of them, some of them.
Awesome. Yeah, but anytime, guys. I had a lot of fun, and you guys know a lot. You guys know a lot. Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, thank you very much. That means a lot coming from you, and I know you're trying to keep to a schedule and take care of your body. You got to be up early.
I gotta sleep like 30 minutes ago, but it's okay. We good. Right,
okay, brother. So no, thank you. We will catch up later.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Well, folks, another deep dive in the books, and I gotta tell you, another one I'm pretty proud of. I'm happy we're getting to meet Gilbert, getting to talk to Gilbert. I think Gilbert likes us.
Yeah.
And I think he had a good time. I think, it's an interview that not a lot of people are ready for. And either you start to get uncomfortable or not. And I think he was comfortable. I think he wanted to talk. So more power to him. Thank you, Gilbert. Definitely fascinating stuff. I love Holland. I love it. Have I mentioned that to you?
Well, Miguel, we went to about midnight his time too. So he was way past his bedtime. And on top of that, it was a little uncomfortable. I'm like, Gilbert, you might not know this, but a lot of people think, not me, but a lot of people think you might be a dirty fighter. He's like, man, stop. Just say it. I don't care. So that kind of made it a little easier. We got into the Dreisen twins that were murdered. That was actually pretty interesting. He was really close-lipped on the other stuff. And I think it's because a lot of the players that were back then that were kind of positioning for power, I believe they're still in the game. We got to get Dirty Bob Schrijber. We got to get Dirty Bob Schrijber, and we got to get Semmy Schilt. That's our goals for Holland.
So, yeah, I thought, and Gilbert opened up with a lot of personal stuff too, which
his mom,
I think is something about. Yeah, you carry some baggage into a fight that, he didn't make excuses, but he was telling the truth. Some fights you just can't help but walk into with baggage. And some of the stuff he walked in there with, He's a real life, like he said, this is clearly a guy who would be fighting for free under bridges if that's, the way the fighting game had gone and it hadn't become a big thing that he can make money on, but he'd still be doing it. And I appreciate those guys. Thanks.
Yeah. So Miguel, absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening here, I'm asking you to like, share, subscribe. If you guys, what we're going to do is we're going to come up with a contest, probably like January, February, late January, early February. And we're going to give away Chris Lytle t-shirts, with our podcast on it. And the only way to qualify is by commenting, liking, and sharing now. So, we're going to try to get all the early people that have been in to help us out through this time. And we sincerely appreciate everything everybody's done in order to acknowledge this podcast existing. Crowbar, Genghis Khan, RD. You guys are always in our comments. Tech Pros Inc. You guys are always in our comments, and it's greatly appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen,
Cade Swallows.
Swallows.
I saw Carlisle Diaz giving me a hard time, and Cade Swallows backing me up, and he's hunting down the MMA detective, brother. He's finding every little mistake of yours.
And Barney Fife. Dude, I had some guy in a show the other day calling me No Rogan. Like hey, you can't put yourself here unless you got a thick skin. I can't sit here and tease and poke our interviewees if I myself don't have a thick skin. You as well, Miguel. I think Chris is the only one that's coming unscathed at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think we knew that would happen. It's like Lytle's the guy that, has earned people's respect, and we just talk a lot, Well, so I'm okay with that. But
he's a 50 Fight Club member, and he's the best looking guy out of the three of us. Like that's a problem.
That's always a problem in this fucking game.
Ladies and gentlemen,
fit people. God damn it,
100%.
Bet sucks.
BetDSI.eu, please. They're one of our sponsors. If you guys, the only sponsor really that's helped us out. BetDSI.eu. If you guys like to gamble on some of the fights, talk about it in the comments. If you use the promo code Lights Out, you get 50% cash deposit up to $1,000. So Miguel, that was a home run. And I think we're starting the year off good, man. I think we got a good little jump start on the year. We also got Gerald Mearshant coming up. Melvin Gillard's another one. So we got some good interviews coming up.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. And Cade, keep at it.
Cade,
I'm going to back.
Don't let me run into you.
I'm going to back up my guy. He's pretty tough too, Mike. You fuck that.
I want to part of that.
The problem here, Cade, is he really is a detective. Mike, I'm backing you up here because
thank you, buddy.
He called you a so-called detective. And so-called MMA detective. So
that's rough.
So
that's rough.
I don't know, Cade. I may have to steal a t-shirt from Mike to send to you. But
also, just so everybody knows what we're talking about, Cade Swallows left a comment on our iTunes, like for I don't know, Apple, whatever it is, I don't know. And he went 5 stars, 2 thumbs up, but he went in on us. And you know what? I'm fine with it. You give us 5 stars, no matter what you say. I don't care. So Miguel, with that, successful interview, brother. Thank you for your
Gilbert Yvel is more awesome than I thought. And I didn't think that was possible. And he is. So thank you, Gilbert, too.
Check out the full interview on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms.